And welcome to Weather and Ag in Focus on this Wednesday, March 4th. And boy, it doesn't feel like March. Well, for some of us it does, but others it feels more like mid-April with some very mild temperatures out there. I'm Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki, along with our Ag Director Bridgette Readel. Good afternoon, Bridgette. How are things going?
Enjoying a 52-degree day with just a little bit of a wind, probably, I don't know, maybe 10 mile, maybe 15 mile an hour. It's not very much. When I say 15 mile an hour wind, and I can say not much, that really tells you I'm coming right out of winter, isn't it?
Yes, sir. It does. I'll tell you, it's a really crazy day in terms of temperatures across the area. There's a front that's kind of laying over right around that 94 corridor, and north of that front, we're looking at a lot of clouds, still some fog. And temperatures in the 20s to near 30. You get south of that front, which includes the FM area and points southward, and temperatures in the 40s to near 50s. So some fog right now up in Grand Forks with temperatures in the 20s, but you move here to the FM area, and we're looking at temperatures in the mid to upper 40s. Now, as we go throughout the day, unfortunately, we're going to continue to see that fog in the Northern Valley much of the day, so not going to see much relief with temperatures in the 20s to the north, and in and around the FM area and points southward will top out today into the low 50s. Now, that front that's hanging over the FM area right along that 94 corridor will sag a little southward tonight, and some of that fog up to the north is going to be dragged south, and more will redevelop. So more fog overnight, and we'll drop down just below the freezing mark into the upper 20s to near 30s. So freezing fog is going to be a problem as we head into tomorrow morning. So please be aware of that. And then that front backs up as a warm front as we head into tomorrow by mid to late morning, leading to, again, temperatures tomorrow very similar to today. Along and south of 94 will be in the 40s to near 50. North from, let's say, Highway 2 northward, we're in the 20s to near 30 during the afternoon. Then a storm system, which is going to bring, it looks like, the first severe weather outbreak of the season in the central and southern plains. That will glide to our south, but it will give us a little bit of moisture Thursday night and Friday in the form of a light wintry mix or a little bit of light snow for the first half of the day on Friday. I'm not looking for much out of this, inch or less, but again, it could be enough to kind of grease up the roadways. We'll be keeping a close eye on that. But that's short-lived. That exits the area very quickly, and then the weekend, we warm right back up again. Now, the weekend is going to be windy. We're really going to see winds increase quite a bit out of the west, and that'll help warm us up into the, looks like, low to mid-40s on Saturday, but back into near-record territory on Sunday in the mid-50s on Sunday. Unbelievable. Now, next week, I mean, after all, it is still early March. If anybody thought we were done with snow, no, not going to be the case. We have 3 storm systems lined up starting next Tuesday and lasting through that following weekend, and each will bring wind and snow with it. It looks like one on Tuesday, one on Thursday, and one the following weekend. So those are 3 storms we'll be watching for next week. But this week, again, outside of the cooler weather and fog in the Northern Valley, the Southern Valley and the Lakes Country and points southward, we're enjoying a early taste of spring weather, which is always a nice little break, even in early March.
Tell you what, I can truly attest to the frosty conditions this morning. Leaving Cass County, highways were certainly frost covered. We saw not only the hoarfrost in the trees, but until probably close to 10 o'clock, there were areas where it was a little difficult to travel. It was like a sheet of ice. So glad folks are slowing down and just taking note that we've had probably more frosty highway days this year than we've had for quite some time.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. So are you at your home base, Bridgette? That looks like a different, okay, I didn't think so.
No, for those who are paying attention today on the Lighthouse Commodities live stream, you're going to see via Facebook, YouTube, and Acres TV that I'm in a slightly different location today. I'm actually at my home farm, and I'm in the shop office. And so after I said I was going to just take my arm and sweep it across the desk to clear my way so I could work today, yeah, I can probably start holding up a random toy tractors just within an arm's length. I mean, it's not often you can sit down and here I've got a yellow John Deere dozer. So there.
That's
for
a
those of
nice
you on
one.
the live stream.
That's cool.
Yeah, again, this is Thanks to Lighthouse Commodities for making sure you can see what we're up to today. If any of you have questions throughout the day, you're welcome to call us on the JLA Insurance phone line at number 701-293-9000. And we are paying very close attention to our email brought to you by Superior Grain Equipment. They power the inbox for Dean, which is weather@flagfamily.com, and I would be ag@flagfamily.com. Superior Grain Equipment, protecting that farm future with grain storage, drying, and handling solutions. So those are kind of the things to tidy up for the moment. We do have Wednesday weather trivia coming up at some point today for one of our Darter Plastics personal bait ups. So, Dean, hopefully we are able to do that a little bit later in the show.
Yeah, we've
Or
got.
unless you're planning for one now.
No, we can hold off until the back part of the show, and we've got. I'm going to throw in, if we can have somebody that gets the right answer. It's going to be a two-part answer. You'll win it. You'll win the rain gauge. But if you can answer the second part of the trivia question, I'll throw in a pair of Sportsman Show tickets coming up this weekend. So a little bonus for today's weather trivia.
And instead of a rain gauge, actually, it's the Darter Plastics bait up that goes along.
Did I say rain gauge?
Perfect.
I'm sorry.
Yep, it's sort of perfect going with the Sportsman Show, because if you're going to the Sportsman Show, you probably need a personal bait station as well.
Right. No doubt. So
makes that a little bit nicer.
And hey, ice fishing is, that stuff's coming to an end. But hey, we're right around the corner from spring weather and warmer weather and the good old summertime fishing. So you'll be able to use that.
And you know what's right around the corner after that corner?
What?
Next winter.
No, don't be ruining things.
Yeah. Let's go.
Man, if I could
winter 2027.
If I could reach through the glass and smack you, I would.
It's the real reason we have glass between us.
Yes, it is.
Not a lot of people probably know that. They probably think we're a very friendly setup.
Oh,
there is a large
There's a lot.
2-pane glass window between me and Dean, and at least like 25 feet.
I've thrown many things at you, and that glass has not cracked yet.
It has not cracked yet. It is shockingly sturdy.
I'm sure at this point people are like, well, now I understand why Bridgette doesn't even go to the studio very often. Okay.
She doesn't want to get in the middle of fire.
That's why Cooper looks so rough. It's because we're always constantly chucking him at the window.
Poor guy. Well, okay, so this is the time of the year where everything is wet, muddy, just messy. In fact, with calving season going on, there's probably about 30 calves on the ground here today where I'm at. It's a little soft out there, right? It's a beautiful day. It's about 52 degrees. Well, your farm trucks and all sorts of other equipment wind up getting just filthy. But I thought this was a great promotion. Alcoda, they are a cleaning system. They create pressure washers, including hot water pressure washers. They've got great big mobile units and so much more. Well, they're giving away 2 of them. They're about a $10,000 value. And you can go and apply at getagpack.com. And you can apply up to September 6th to win one of these 2 different hot water, high pressure washers. Well, let's face it, ag is dirty. It's messy. And it's nice to have those pressure washers. I especially like the hot water ones because in my past work, there were times where sometimes with sprayers, depending on what you ran through them, you needed the hot water and the high pressure to get some of those inside tanks clean. If you could be a gymnast and get up at the baffles on the top of the tank, etc. I say this is worth applying for. So I'm hoping that folks take advantage of it. There's 2 different models, the 430X M4 or the 4405X D4. You'll probably have to go find some pictures of it, and you can at alcoda.com. But again, if you just go to the Ag Pack, getagpack.com and register, there's a chance you might be able to win one of these. They look awesome. Very excited about them. So one of the things we'll be giving or helping people get to this season.
Good deal. Now we have a special guest coming on here in a few minutes, Bridgette.
We do. Her name is Marita. Let's see. I want to say it right. Marita Meech. She is with AgriMed Crisis Foundation. One of the first questions I asked Marita when I talked to her was, how are you like farm rescue? And we'll talk about that because they're 2 very different organizations, but I think they're driving towards the same mission, and that is keeping farm families when in need and able to help them financially, but in a couple of different ways. We're very familiar with farm rescue here in our region, based right out of Jamestown, North Dakota, If you are injured, sick, something along those lines that happens, you are able to apply with Farm Rescue. They will come out for planting, harvest, and haying season. They bring volunteers. They will use your equipment, but they also have their own equipment they can bring out, and they can get work done on your farm to keep things flowing, especially at planting and harvest time. So that's one organization we're very familiar with. And also, Farm Rescue was one of only 4 organizations at Giving Hearts Day that received over $1 million. So congratulations to them. I'm looking forward to hearing from Marita as to the story of how she started this foundation in honor of her husband and what was the background. And she's taking the time off of calving. She's down in Kansas, I believe, and she's got plenty on her plate besides just making sure she can run a foundation and help take care of other farmers. She's got calving and so forth going on. So we'll be curious to see what her farm looks like and what's going on for her these days. We'll do that after we get the livestock report from the American Ag Network. Here on Weather and Ag in Focus, you just never know when we might have the opportunity to go ahead and look at a few more headlines before we get to our guest. And today's that chance. Okay, there is something going on that's called hybrid meat. I don't think this is something that is necessarily scary, but it's certainly a little bit of a change in what people would call it before. Hybrid meat is actually taking beef, chicken, pork, anything like that, and then going ahead and blending it off with a plant-based meat alternative. So if you're going to put grated zucchini or carrots into your meat, or maybe beans or lentils, essentially isn't that just like chili or a pot roast? Except
Right?
now you're just blending it all in one item. I just didn't quite get that. But yeah, don't be scared about hybrid meat. It's really still real meat. It's just blended with some vegetables as fillers. New term out in the
So,
marketplace, you guys.
is it supposed to be a little more nutritious, or how's it being
So there's
labeled?
couple of things. They're saying that it has an increase in the protein for it, in the protein content,
Okay.
that it would also be more sustainable, because I hear that word all the time, when frankly, animals are sustainable already. But there's those folks that want to feel better about, their part in protecting the planet, can probably use this. It might also change the price per pound and value of it, making it a little bit cheaper than if it was just totally beef or something like that. So interesting to note. It
Yeah.
wasn't exactly something I was planning for, or what to call it, but yeah, hybrid meat. I think I just called that filler back in the day when I worked at a restaurant in high school.
Right. Well, we're
Didn't make sense.
still waiting on our guests. We're having some connection issues. So, how about we do weather? You want to do weather trivia now, Bridgette, or do you want to hit on some ag topics?
Why don't you go ahead, Dean? But I would suggest if you can take the calls, since Addison's working with our
I've
guests
got.
to get
Yep.
her
I can
connected. That would be
absolutely.
great.
I can absolutely do that. So today's Wednesday weather trivia, and again, this is for your chance to win a Darter Bait Up plastic cup. I'll tell you, these Bait Up cups are fantastic. If you're an avid fisherman, these things are a must-have, if you will. And we're going to throw in this. It's a two-part question. If you can answer both parts, we will also throw in a pair of Sportsman Show tickets for this weekend. So today's Wednesday weather trivia is: this is the only EF5 tornado to ever hit the United States during the month of August. What city did it hit, and what famous person went to high school there? 701-293-9000 is the number. Again, the Wednesday weather trivia is: this is the only EF5 tornado to ever hit the United States during the month of August. What city did it hit, and what famous person went to high school there?
West Fargo, North Dakota, Josh Duhamel. How's that?
Ooh, I like that one.
Okay, and all of that is made up because Josh Duhamel actually was in Minot.
Okay. So I can hear the Google machines going already. 701-293-9000. Again, the only EF5 tornado to hit the United States during the month of August. What city did it hit? What famous person went to high school there? All right, we got a caller on line one. Caller, what's your name?
Mike.
Mike. And what is your guess?
I believe it's Chicago.
Mike, I can't give it to you. You're close. You're close.
Chicago area.
It is Chicago. You got to give me the city, though. You got to give me the city. You want? I'll give you another shot here, Mike. What city?
I don't know.
I'm sorry, Mike. We got to have the city with this one, man. So again, the question is: this is the only EF5 tornado to hit the United States during the month of August. What city? Actually, what town? We'll say what town did it hit, and what famous person went to high school there? 701-293-9000. Mike was close. He was close. It wasn't Chicago, but it was close by. There's your hint. There's your hint.
So can I continue to make things up?
Sure, if you would like, yeah.
I'm going to go with Peoria and the guy who started Caterpillar.
Ooh, that's another good guess. That is another.
I don't remember his name, but I remember it being in the Tractor Wars documentary on PBS. So
Okay.
I know there was a name that went along with starting caterpillar.
All right. And actually, I think there was a big caterpillar plant north of Peoria in Joliet. I believe there was a huge one there too. All right, we got a couple of callers. Caller line 1, what's your name? What's your guess?
Eric, is it Plainfield?
It is. Yes, the only EF5 tornado to hit the United States in the month of August was back in August 28th of 1990, Plainfield, Illinois. Now, okay, so congrats. You won our Darter Plastic Bait-Up Cup. Now, what famous person went to high school there?
Dean Wysocki.
You got it. How did... See, the second part was kind of a joke with the famous part, but Mike, how did you know?
Just a guess.
All right, hey, well, very good guess, Mike. And Eric. Sorry, Eric. And Eric, we're going to put you on hold, and our director, Addison, he will get all the information you need. You know where our station is at, right?
You betcha.
All right, Eric. And then just swing by. I'll have those tickets and the Bait-Up Cup waiting down at the lobby for you, okay?
Thanks a lot, man.
Thanks, Eric. All right. So congratulations to Eric. How in the world do you know I went to high school there?
I'm pretty sure you've said it. So
It's been a while, though. It's been a while, yeah. Oh, that was great. Good answer, Eric. And way to pay attention, I guess, right?
yeah. I put Eric's name into our messaging system so that
Perfect.
Addison can pick that up after he gets a chance to work with our guest. We are holding to get a hold of Marita Meech, and we're going to talk with her about the AgriMed Crisis Foundation for farmers. Hopefully we'll have a chance to do that after we pick up our bottom of the hour news. So when we return, let's have that discussion with them. I am excited to introduce our guests today, Mesh. And Marita is running the AgriMed Crisis Foundation for Farmers. She's down in Kansas, but I'd like for her to introduce herself. Marita, how are you today?
Well, right now I'm a little frustrated because I can't get the camera to work, but I guess if you can hear me, we're just going to rock and roll because that's what we do on the farm. You just roll with the punches that you're delivered.
That is exactly right. So, where are you at in Kansas?
Actually, I'm in South Kansas. I'm about 4 miles from the Missouri line and about 90 miles from the Oklahoma line and 90 miles straight south of Kansas City.
Excellent. Now, you are a farmer, a rancher, but you're also a widow. Tell us more about your operation and your husband, Jim.
Yes, ma'am. My husband Jim and I started. He had been in a farming and ranching situation with his dad and his brother for many years, and in 2013 or 2012 they decided to split the farm so they could go bigger. Each one could grow a little better. So we started Jim Meech Farms in 2013, and we had cattle and row crop and hay. And I guess, do you want me to go ahead and lead into the story about
Sure.
Jim?
Sure, go right ahead. Yeah.
Well, it's kind of near and dear to my heart, but around Thanksgiving of 2018, Jim and I were trying to finish up our fall harvest so we could get to Texas because both our kids live in Texas to enjoy Thanksgiving. And on that Tuesday before Thanksgiving, something just didn't seem quite right with him, and I thought maybe he was having a diabetic stroke because he was a diabetic. So we had jumped in the truck and headed to Kansas City Hospital, and an emergency room and an ambulance ride later, we were told that he had a brain mass and that he was going to require surgery. And then later, we discovered that he was diagnosed with terminal brain cancer, glioblastoma, which is the worst of the worst brain cancers. Mm. So obviously, pardon me.
Yeah, you've got this diagnosis. And what are the next steps? I'm sure you were able to come home for some time and you're thinking to yourselves, what do we do next? What did that look like?
Well, instantly it was crazy because this was on a Tuesday. Thanksgiving was on Thursday. They were Kansas City. They were predicting a blizzard on the weekend, and we had 50 acres of beans still left in the field, and our cattle were still we had one pasture of cattle that was still at summer pasture, and we were, if there's a blizzard coming in, we was wanting to get them moved home. And so thankfully a local farmer came over and helped our son get the rest of the beans out and the equipment all put away for the winter. And the kids on Thanksgiving Day, it was a beautiful day that year, got the cattle moved home. And on Friday after Thanksgiving, on our son's 27th birthday, Jim underwent nearly a 12-hour brain surgery. And life just completely upended itself on us. So
you made some notes for us, and one of the things that you said was there was a phone call with Social Security. You wanted to talk about disability benefits for your husband Jim, but it didn't go the way you thought.
No, well, we didn't really know what Social Security disability benefits are because, as farmers and ranchers, we don't really qualify for disability insurance even. And so the doctor says, hey, Marita, you need to look into getting him disability. And he says, because he's terminal, at that point, we had learned that he was terminal, you'll be escalated on the disability thing. And I'm like, well, okay, we might as well check it out and see what it's about. So got a phone call a few weeks later, and the guy asked Jim's name and Social Security, all the stuff. And then he goes, so what does he do? And I said, well, we're farmers and ranchers. So you have assets? I said, well, yeah, we're farmers and ranchers. We've got land and tractors and cattle. And he goes, well, okay, well, then this phone call's over, and hung up.
Wow.
Oh,
now, that was like, oh, okay, well, we've worked our whole lives, and apparently in that 30-second phone call, what Jim had done, we didn't qualify because we had land and equipment and cattle, and that was infuriating to us both. And Jim, he was frustrated. And so it raised a question for us. How many other farmers and ranchers out there are fighting for their lives, being told that the assets that we've worked our whole life to build now disqualifies you for that?
Yeah, because at that point,
as agriculture
Social
people,
Security was Social Security is telling you you have too much stuff. You're gonna have to sell something instead of us helping you, right?
it's what it sounded like to us. And farmers don't get what some term as PTO. My first thoughts when somebody says PTO to me is, well, yeah, we had to replace one of those with the tractor. And they're like, no, Marita, that's paid time off. So anyway, I was like, well, all right then.
So
And it's just frustrating, because I don't know. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, it's okay. We've got lots of things that we want to ask you, Marita, and things didn't go very smoothly, and unfortunately, you lost Jim then in 2019, correct?
Yes, ma'am. He was given, with his diagnosis, he was given 5 to 11 months, and he lived 9.5 months. And it's kind of sometimes I think a little, I don't know, ironic that he passed away on Labor Day. He was a farmer his whole life. He loved his farm. He loved his cattle. It was who he was. And yeah, so he passed away on Labor Day of 2019. Just 4 months shy of 2020, we were going to semi-retire, and that's obviously not happened. But yeah, he passed away on September 2nd of 2019. Had the funeral on Saturday, and the day before our 35th wedding anniversary. And I went to the cornfield on Wednesday, and that was in 2019. And I've pretty much not stopped since. I've just been, I had a farm, I had cattle, I had a husband who'd recently passed away. I was scrambling.
And you made him a promise.
I did. We planned the funeral together, and because I needed to know, what do you suggest for chemical here? Where do I need to sell the crops at? Who's the sale barn guy I need to talk to? Because he'd always done all of that. I mean, I knew, but I didn't know. As the wife, you kind of know some of the stuff that you're not down in the real trenches of everything. And so we talked about a lot of those things. And one of the things that I said one day, I said, well, what about the memorial fund? And he says, well, if you give it, because I would have instantly, had I not asked this question, I'm so glad I asked this question. He says, if you give it to brain cancer research, he says, you may or may not ever know where the money goes. That's pretty cool idea, I thought. I said, so what do you want me to do? And he says, well, why don't you just use the money to help some of the guys around here? And I said, that is what I will do. I will make that promise. And so, like I said earlier, I buried him on Saturday, went to the field on Wednesday, and I just went. And then in March of 24, I'm sitting here thinking, man, in September, it's going to be 5 years since Jim's passed. I need to do something. We still got that memorial money and some things, and I'm sure other people's out there struggling. And so the kids and I got together and talked about it. And I said, well, let's create something in Dad's name. And so we came up with the Jim Meech AgriMed Crisis Foundation in 24. And it's as far as promotionals, we recognize it now as the AgriMed Crisis Foundation, even though it still bears his name because sadly he passed away. Mm-hmm. And we want to honor him for that. So we launched in 24 the AgriMed Crisis Foundation. It's a 501c3 nonprofit. It's just built on a simple idea that when an unexpected medical crisis hits a farm or a ranch family, we step in. The foundation steps in and kind of gives them a little assistance within those first 30 days so they can just go take a deep breath and focus on healing.
And Marita, this is specifically just for medical crises, right? Not financial struggles or mental health. It's just for actual medical emergencies. Is that correct?
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Just
Okay.
actual unexpected medical crisis. Like we've had farmers who've had, you know, oh golly, I just had a brain dead for a second. Uh, Heart attacks, uh, broken bones from roping cattle. One farmer this winter got hit, rear-ended on his tractor and flipped it over in the middle of the highway from an inattentive driver. One of our most recent ones was we had a rancher that I mean, and we've all done some of these things, and we all just sometimes barely escape an accident. But you know, he went out and pulled a calf right before midnight, brought the calf in on the back porch, like we've probably all done at some time or another that raise cattle. Never thought anything about it. Got up the next morning, opened the door to go out to the porch, and unknowingly, the little baby calf had got up in the night and accidentally had hit a little turnoff valve on a gas line.
Mm.
And when the gentleman opened the door, his house exploded.
Oof.
And so he
Oh
had
my.
burns to his face and hands. Now, good news is the baby calf's doing real well. But yeah, so we were able, so yeah, of course, he had to take time off. He needed to hire some help. Uh, you know, the one gentleman that experienced the broken pelvis and brain injury from his tractor turning over, he's been very thankful for the financial support that we've been able to give him because his wife has been able to take a little time off to
Mm.
to help him at home. So that is the focus. Those first 30 days, it is just a crazy show. And you know, as farmers and ranchers, normally we have our monies already kind of allocated for fuel, fertilizer, you know, vaccine, feeds, and minerals. So we don't really have that, what do you call it, ready cash, quick cash for those
Mm-hmm.
unexpected hotel bills, the wonderful hospital food, fuel, going to those unplanned doctor's appointments. And so that's where the mission of the foundation is to step in those first 30 days when the unexpected crisis comes in, allows those people to just take a deep breath and go, hey, I think things are going to be all right. Let's just take a step back, get our logistics going, get some help. And every one of them have just been so grateful and so thankful. And it does my heart good to know that we're helping those people.
That's awesome. Now, Marita, quickly walk us through how exactly does the AgriMed Crisis Foundation work? How do you help these families, and what are some of those requirements?
Well, we have a website. It's agrimedcrisis.org, and we have a refer a farmer and a rancher link that we have a downloadable paper application that you can download and mail to us, or you can fill out the application online, and it can be submitted to us. Um, and then once the application comes in, I do a little research on it, and then I present it to the boards. We determine if that individual meets our requirements, and our requirements are pretty simple. It's a husband and wife or an individual, because the one gentleman that his house exploded, he's single. So
Mm-hmm.
they're a farmer or rancher. And the second thing is that 50% of their income needs to come from agriculture, because we're here to help farmers and ranchers, not hobby farmers. And your crisis, your medical crisis, has to have happened within the last 30 days, so we can step in and help you right away.
You know, one of the things that I think people are thinking about as well is it takes a lot to run a foundation. You've had some fundraiser and so forth. Can you tell us a little bit about how the ag community has stepped up and helped you in those areas?
Yes, ma'am. We've only had we're a very young organization. We're only 2 years old. Um, we had a fundraiser, and our fundraisers are a little more what I would call unique than what some fundraisers might be. A lot of our donated items are from local businesses, and they're agriculture business. You know, we get toys and tractors or toy tractors. I've had hay, feed bunks, um, clothes, cinnamon rolls. You know, it's just crazy the things that people will donate, and it's things that are donated that the farmer or rancher is actually going to use. You know, one guy bought a jug of ivermectin at the fundraiser because he was working cattle the next day. How cool is that?
Yep.
He was able to help out a future farmer or rancher that might maybe going to have an unexpected crisis, and was able to go to the pasture the next day and work cattle. So that's been really cool. That I do like the idea of having fundraisers that help the people coming and enjoying our event, as well as helping unexpected crises for our ag people.
Well, also, you as a new foundation, not everybody knows that you exist. And so for us, this has been kind of fun being able to share the fact that you are out there helping those in so many different areas. So do you have a tagline? Do you have a mission, things that you want to make sure people hear about?
Yeah, that one of the things I've really started realizing this last this winter, actually, we've had a couple individuals we've helped, and they live right here in the county. And when I call them and say, hey, you've been nominated for the AgriMed Crisis Foundation, because of your accident, and they're like, well, we've never heard of you. So it was like, hey, Marita, you need to do something. We've raised a little bit of money, but we're learning that people don't know we exist. And so hopefully, through this interview today and social media, we can begin to get the word out there. Because if you're an individual laying in a hospital bed, you're not scrolling your phone or having your wife or your spouse try to figure out how we're going to make it through, because I did it again. I'm terrible about this. But anyway, we just want to continue to I apologize. That video not working has got my brain going crazy. It'll drive me crazy. So yeah, our tagline is help us, help them. The American farmer and rancher. Crisis support, ag support. That's what we want to do. We want to get the word out that they can know we're here to help.
And we can send people to the agrimedcrisis.org through our discussion today, where Marita, thank you for joining us. We really appreciate all that you've done to help share with us today.
All right. And thank you again, Marita. That'll do it for today's version of Weather and Ag in Focus, but don't go anywhere. The Jay Thomas Show, it's coming up next.